Hey everybody, come on in. We're going to talk about blockchain. Yay! Because I know you all care. I'm not sure if I'll get 500 people too quickly today. I usually wait for 500 before I launch into the topic. Hello everybody. And it's great to... I'm using my iPad because my phone has that ringer problem, yes. So I won't be making that mistake. All right, so here, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about blockchain, and this is for people who don't understand it. If you already know the blockchain, then all you're going to get from this is the good feeling you get when you leave a comment to tell me that I got something wrong. And by the way, you should do that. So if I get something wrong here, or there's something that needs to be clarified, just add it in the comments. I would rate my knowledge of this field on a scale of 1 to 10, a 3, maybe a 2, but it's way more than most people know. I keep telling people that my startup, WhenHub, has launched a token offer. And then I say it's based on the blockchain, and people say, oh, what's that? What's a blockchain? And I say, you don't know the blockchain? The blockchain is going to change the world. It's bigger than the internet. Some people say that's true. It's going to really change fundamentally almost everything. All right? And it's hard to know at this point how that could be true. And even I can't fully explain it to you, but I'll give you a few examples so you can get the sense of it. All right. So here's a little bit of background. There is a secret inventor. We don't know his name. He's literally still in hiding and is one of the biggest mysteries in the world. Who invented this damn thing? And what this damn thing that I'm talking about is the blockchain. The blockchain, very simply, is a string of characters that carry some information. Yeah, the name used by the inventor was Satoshi Nakamoto, but nobody thinks that's his real name. All right. So if you could think of the blockchain as just a record, a bunch of information, a bunch of characters that you can add to as new things happen. Why is this important? It's because this allows you to keep a permanent record of something and keep adding to it. Now, one of the things you can do with this blockchain is that you can say, hey, some of this is money. So as long as other people agree it's money, which is really the only thing you need, you can say, hey, if I send you these characters with my secret password and you know it came from me and we've agreed that it's money, then you'll accept it as money. So some of this might be telling you it's money, and that would be the first part of what makes up your Bitcoin. The rest of this might be stuff like where that money has been, what it bought, what transaction it was, etc. So the blockchain can just keep growing and growing. Now, what makes it special, and really the magic of it, is this little concept that doesn't seem important until you really think it through. The blockchain doesn't live in one place. It has copies all over in anywhere that there's a server that's participating in the network. And that means that if somebody tried to falsify one of these, and they said, I'll take your blockchain and I'll change a few characters and then it will be my money, ha 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 ha. The moment they change one of these characters, all the other servers that have a copy say, nope, you're out of here. That doesn't match our copy. So what you have is the way to make a bulletproof money as long as people treat it as money. Now, one of the ways that it was cleverly made to feel like money is with artificial scarcity. So there's a process called Bitcoin mining in which computers, very powerful computers, run for a long time to use an algorithm to come up with a string of characters which has been defined in the system to equal a Bitcoin. So you can find them for free if you have a server farm or you spend a lot of time looking for one or you just get lucky. But if you're running the program, you might come up with a Bitcoin. And then you can say, hey, I got a Bitcoin. And suddenly the whole system will know that Bitcoin exists. And as it gets used, there will be new information added to the blockchain, which supports it. Now, Bitcoin was the first to use this blockchain, but other cryptocurrencies have used the same concept. So now there are a bunch of them. And not only are there a bunch of them that are sort of public versions, but there are also more, let's say, special purpose uses, which for our purposes I'm going to call a token. There are legal reasons why you don't want to call it money in some contexts. For example, when my startup, WhenHub, just did its token offering yesterday. You can see that on my blog. You can see that on my Twitter feed, as Scott Adams says. It's the top one. And you can see that what we've done is created a token that runs on the blockchain. And we don't call it money because it's used within the product to do some special things. So the product that we're proposing, which is the subject of the token offering, is that people will be able to use their phone to contact an expert who could book their time in even 15-minute increments. So we're going to use the blockchain and something that runs on top of well, you could think of it that way. There are applications or apps, but they're actually distributed apps. So they call them dApps. So these dApps are like a little program that you can put on top of the blockchain to give it a little extra function. So that's what we've done with our offering. So in our case, the little application that runs on top of the blockchain would allow people to find an expert who says, hey, I'm available for 15 minutes. What do you think? Do you want to hook up? Hookup's the wrong word. I'm available for 15 minutes to consult on whatever, or I could be available for an hour. It doesn't matter. But if people make the deal and they say, yes, I'm going to talk to you at this time using our already existing scheduling platform at WhenHub, then when the call is connected, we'll just monitor that the call was connected, the two people who said they wanted to talk for 15 minutes, and then the app running on the blockchain will just say, okay, the call happened. That's all the app knows. The call happened. The two people who said they want to talk to each other for 15 minutes did, and as soon as the call is done, the app says, call is done, I'm going to transfer this money over from where it was over to the expert, because that's the payment. Now, all of this money can be exchanged for other stuff, all right? So even a token, even though it's not money, can be exchanged for bitcoins. It could be exchanged for money. If you're on an exchange, it's just a website. You can see some of those if you go to my Twitter feed and look at the tweet about WhenHub. So that is the basic idea. Now, the thing that makes this so powerful is that you can't falsify these things. So imagine, when was the last time, let me give you an example. I just went to my store, Safeway, and to buy some groceries yesterday. The first thing that happened was it didn't take either of my first two credit cards. The reader wouldn't read it. Next thing is that it's got that stupid message that says, do not remove your card, which I read as remove your card. So about 1 out of 5 times I pull my card out, all right? Sometimes they might ask for ID, depending on the store. Sometimes, so just paying for stuff is this massive headache because you can't always prove who you are. But if you've got a password and you're the only one that has it for your wallet, as they call it a wallet, where you store your bitcoins or other cryptocurrency. If you're the only one who has your password, the person who receives the money doesn't need to check your identity. Imagine all identity checking just going away. All right? What does that do to banks? Imagine all the risk of transactions just going away. That's what this could do. So, banks are in trouble, and there are all kinds of other technology products. Yeah, smart contracts they're called. So somebody said smart contracts. So if you write your distributed app as a smart contract, that's what we're doing with WhenHub. It's a contract that says when these conditions are met, and the conditions are just something in the digital world, like something happened or it didn't happen, then the contract is satisfied. All right. Did this make sense? Let me just check in with you. For those of you who are not familiar, with any of this topic? Did this make sense for the first time for you? Very much so. Good. Good. Is there any way for hackers and people to get your secret password? Yes. I mean, I don't know the details of that, but yes, if there's a password, somebody can get it. But I don't think the password, there's something like a double authentication thing with the passwords. So it's not easy. And if you have a password, you want the big password, the one that nobody can get. You don't want to have a password that's 123. That wouldn't not be where you want to keep your Bitcoins. Does Bitcoin own blockchain? No. They're both sort of these public programs, if you will. Blockchain is simply an idea. Nobody owns it. Bitcoin is simply an arrangement of bits that people have decided is money. Nobody owns the concept of Bitcoin. You keep trying to get in on a Bitcoin. Now, if you wanted to invest in Bitcoins, you could go to an exchange and exchange your money for a Bitcoin. Or if you wanted to do it like a stock, there is I think the symbol is BTGC or something. But there's a Bitcoin stock that's, tracks with Bitcoins. GBTC, that sounds right. So GBTC would be the ticker if you wanted to buy a stock-like item that just tracks Bitcoin. Could it be hacked? I'm not the one to answer the too technical questions. Do you own Bitcoin? I own. Well, I think I won't answer that question. Yeah, if you forget your password, it's a problem. Could be hacked. Is it on Ethereum? Yes. So the WenHub application is using the Ethereum technology. Yes. Am I a miner? No, I'm not. I'm not a miner for Bitcoins. You should talk with Naval on Periscope. I should. Is there any difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin? Again, that's a little bit more technical than I can answer. I'll just take a stab at it, though. I think the Ethereum is what allows you to do the dApps. I don't know that you could do that. I mean, I think that's what you're getting with Ethereum, but let me stop there, limit of my knowledge. There are two different types. Is this ML, multi-level marketing? Well, some people ask, is it multi-level marketing because the value of your Bitcoin, for example, is based on just convincing other people that it has value, so if they buy it, yours is worth more? And the answer to that is, that's just how money works. Everything that has scarcity goes up in value. Everything that has demand goes up in value. Boom. What kind of professionals do you see having on the platform? So this the question is about the WenHub proposed product that's in addition to the ones we already have that are out there. And we're imagining any kind of technical advice. Let me give you an example. When I was trying to put together my sound studio upstairs, which ultimately failed, but I spent months trying to figure out what equipment, what software I needed. And because of the specialized nature of it, there was just no way to Google and get the right answer, because it was just a little, there was just a few more questions I needed to ask than Google could give me. But if there was somebody who had advertised as, say, a sound engineer or somebody who knew about streaming, and was available for half an hour for $100 or $50 or whatever they charge. They could charge whatever they want, or they could also auction their time and sell to the highest bidder. So if it's a celebrity, they might be auctioning their time, but everybody else would probably have a set price. I probably would have saved a month in my process if I could have found the one expert who could have said, oh, I tried those 3 things you're already thinking about. Forget about 2 of them. Use this. What about taxes? I wonder about that too. I think with all these cryptocurrencies, there's got to be a sort of an honor system issue here, because I don't know what happens if somebody pays you in cryptocurrency. I think you just have to report it. Obviously, you have to report any kind of income. But I don't know how the IRS can check on the crypto stuff. There may be a way, or maybe they might demand a way, I suppose. All right. Yeah, ultimately, I suppose everything is traceable. How many companies are working on this type of deal? Well, this is a really hot territory. If you see the word, if you see ICO, which is initial coin offering, that's sort of the non-regulated Wild West way to do what WhenHub is doing, with better lawyers and more attention to the legalities, and also looking ahead to the likelihood that this will be more regulated than it already is. Just to give you an idea how much of a Wild West situation this is, as we were going to publish our offer, New York State introduced a new regulation. And so we suddenly had to change our text to say, except New York State. We'll fix that later. But at the moment, the regulations are moving around and they're trying to get their hands on it. So what we're doing is not an ICO, but that's the field that you'll recognize as this stuff happening. We're doing a specialized, more legal version. When I say more legal, I only mean less legal risk from future regulatory problems, right? So we've put it in the form of a contract that takes care of the risks, we hope, that the Wild West version brings with it. Could I do a blog post explaining this technology in detail? Well, I can't get too much further than this, because that's about all I know right now. So the cost of tokens. So the cost of tokens floats based on demand, right? So because these tokens are all issued, and this is another important point, every token is issued, at least the ones I know of, they're issued as a set amount, and it's that artificial constraint. Even if you can mine for more, there's a constraint on how quickly you can do that. So because of that constraint, that's what gives it its value. But the value of one token might start out as, and I'll just give you this is just an example number. But if a token started down as being worth $100, it could be worth several thousands of dollars if other people wanted it and they wanted to buy in. The value of the I should have mentioned this. The value of the when tokens will be based not so much on just demand, but how many people are using the product when we build it. So when we build the product, if no one used it, the tokens wouldn't have value. But if it's successful and more people need tokens, then the value of each token will go up, and then we just use smaller slices of the token within the product, and the person knowing it doesn't see any change in the price, because the person using the product is paying in what looks like just dollars. So if somebody was charging $20 an hour to be an expert on the system, then it's always going to be $20, even if the tokens that are behind the scenes are changing in value. We just adjust automatically in the system to make sure that the prices you see don't change. But behind the system, the value of the tokens that support that, the token value of an individual token would change. Does anybody think that we'll be able to get around the banks? Well, that's certainly the big question, right? The big question is whether the banks and the lobbyists will allow any of this sort of revolution to happen. And I think what's different about this is, I don't know how easy it would be to stop this stuff. You know, this may be a genie that's already out of the bottle, but I'm not a regulatory expert, so I suppose there's always a way to stop anything. Banks are already investing in blockchain? Yes. Will U.S. dollars become obsolete? Yes. So let me make this my most confident prediction. I just don't know when. But yes, real money will go away. I'm going to say that as my prediction that I say with complete confidence. Real money will go away. Because real money just can't compete with this. It just can't. It can't even come close. Yeah, it might be 10 years from now. Currency, yes. I should have said currency will go away. That is correct. Should you burn all your paper money? You should collect it up and give it to me, and then just leave it there, and I'll burn it for you. I'll take care of that for you. All right. I think I've said what I need to say. It needs a way to trade without electricity. Well, that's a good point. You know, you can imagine that an EMP thing would wipe out all electricity, and but it would also wipe out banks too. So, you know, if you think about it, you're probably thinking to yourself, I don't know, I don't feel safe if my money is just digits on the internet, even if it's in lots of different places. I'm not comfortable because what happens if the electricity goes out? What happens if there's an EMP attack and we lose it? Well, your money is already digital. Like your bank is not holding like a pile of, dollar bills that belong to you. It's already digital. So the EMP is going to take care of money no matter what the money is, right? The few dollars that you hold in your wallet are not going to be terribly important after that. The real concern is inflation. Yeah, that's another topic. I think I saw a comment about the when tokens that I didn't quite understand. The vendors who would provide service on the proposed product, the WhenHub product, the vendors would receive tokens or real money, but tokens can be easily turned into real money. I'm not sure we've even decided that yet, but in either case, it's an easy transition. Yeah, the blockchain is more resilient than any other database on the planet. Oh, okay, that's a good point. You could wipe out the entire United States, at least the electricity in the United States, but there's still going to be servers in, Australia and everywhere else, and they too have a copy of the blockchain. So you could take out entire continents and it wouldn't affect your money with the blockchain model. That's a good point. All right, we do, says the Aussie will too. How can this be made scary to fundamentalists? Soon there will be a server satellites. You're not wrong. I'll bet there will be server satellites. I'll bet that's a real thing someday. All right, I've done what I can do here. If you know anybody who would like to buy some When tokens, go to my Twitter page. It's the pinned tweet, and you can see all about it. This is the initial phase where the big investors get a big discount if they get in early. And then the discount, shrinks over time. And then eventually the smaller investors and the worldwide investors well, they can already invest worldwide, but the rest of the investors can get in down to $250 once we get past this initial phase. You're making now tokens. So $50,000 in the initial phase, and soon after that, the limit goes down to $250, and we'll let everybody in. Part of that is that you want to start with the big, credible folks who know how to do this sort of stuff. And then if you see that they've gone in, you can say to yourself, well, they checked it out. It's not as big a risk if other people looked at it already. And it's people who know what they're doing. Yes, so 50,000 at 30% off if you get in right away. I love you so much. Well, thank you. Public or private? This is all private transactions. Is there a limit? No, you can do more than